These are shark-infested waters. Danger lurks all around. There are sharks circling you right now. Is this the Pacific? The South China Sea? No. This is the business insurance industry. Don't take chances with your business insurance. Call High House Insurance, your local business insurance experts. We don't pay to be on comparison websites, so your premiums are better value. For a free no-obligation quote, call Celsey 606 552. High House, local, reliable insurance. High Street, Celsey.
And welcome once again to Manhood Internet Radio. And to kick off the show this week, we took our studio down to the Barnyard, which is on the Burnham Strait. Well, my first guest in the studio today is Lucy Eade. And Lucy is the owner of the Barnyard Garden Centre.
Yes, it has many guises.
I was going to say, I'm not quite sure how to describe it because there's an awful lot that goes on here at the Barnyard. Now, Lucy, how long have you been here?
We're just coming up to 5 years this June, actually.
5 years?
Yes.
Really?
It's gone quickly.
Yes, I imagine it would have done. And it's very varied. There's an awful lot of stuff going on here. I noticed you've got an antiques emporium or a furniture emporium. There's a restaurant. Do you do lunches and stuff like that?
Yes, absolutely. We do hot food all day, from breakfast through to afternoon tea. We have a children's menu. We have a hot menu, a sandwich menu, full English at breakfast, and all the usual sort of stuff. And then on a Sunday we have a roast, which is always involves our own meat that we produce. My husband rears all our own rare breed pork and free-range turkey, so usually one of those is on the menu each week.
I saw the pigs actually when I was here previously, and I thought I'd bring my wife down to see them because she's mad on pigs, as most of the listeners will know. But if she's got to pick one for a Sunday lunch,
Oh, no.
I think you might avoid that. Now, I notice out the back also there's a lot of stuff that seems to be there to entertain children, so I take it you're children friendly.
We certainly are. It's something that kind of evolved accidentally, but we have 3 children of our own, and they kind of fitted into us developing things here, and it went from there. So we always have something on for children, half terms, holidays. Next week is half term, February half term, and we have pottery painting Monday to Friday. And lots of outdoor space and ride-on tractors, and children seem to have just fun in the space. Yes,
well, the kids are like that pretty much, so that they'll adapt to any kind of open space and find something to play with. So
they do.
And from what I've seen out there, there's stuff out there ready for them. They'll be raring to go. With Valentine's Day coming up, is there anything special laid on for Valentine's Day?
Well, it's a daytime venue here as opposed to an evening venue, but we're hoping to sort of spread the family love this year and bring your family down for a Sunday Valentine's roast, really, and there may be a few heart-shaped delicacies on offer, you never know.
Well, now, you mentioned the word venue there, which makes me think, out the back you've got a modern barn, I think is the best description of it. And when I popped in there last week when I paid a visit, I noticed it. I mean, you got hay bales in there, and the first thing that struck me was barn dance.
Yes.
And it seemed the absolute perfect venue for a barn dance. Have you ever held anything like that, or do you rent that venue out for that? We do
rent that venue out, but we have held a couple of very successful charity barn dances in there. The first and most successful one was for St Wilfrid's Hospice, and a substantial amount of money was raised from that event. But we're definitely keen to do it again and to support local charities and hold local charity events here.
Well, it's great. I mean, it's once again in the summer you can imagine that. In the winter it all looks a bit cold and stuff, but in the summer you think what a wonderful venue that would be.
Yes.
Yes, I can imagine all sorts going on in there.
Absolutely.
Events wise.
It's surprising how warm you can get that venue actually in the autumn and the spring, not just sort of in the peak of summer, but it does lend itself to a really nice country occasion.
Yes, indeed. So if anybody wants to rent that for some kind of function, they can just contact you and they can phone you, can they? Yes,
and we've held a number of children's parties in there as well. So that's good fun. We do children's parties in the restaurant, and we use the barn polytunnel space to do different types of events in there, so that can be...
I imagine the kids would love it, wouldn't they?
They
There's
do.
hay bales, and I remember
They do.
as a child myself, we went camping in Wales with the Boy Scouts, and it rained so heavily that we had to go and sleep in the barn. And sleeping in it, you're making your own space in amongst the hay bales was brilliant.
Great fun.
So I know, I know the sort of attraction there for kids. Mind, it was a long time ago. Now, contact details. If somebody wants to contact you,
The best way to get hold of us is telephone or our Facebook page. Our website is under construction at the moment, so that's not an option, but we have a Facebook page which is Barnyard Families, and our telephone number here is 513883.
well, there you go, folks. If you'd like to hire that venue and you need to contact Lucy, you can do on that phone number, and she'd be more than happy to speak to you. Well, thanks for coming in and just enlightening us a little bit about what goes on down here at Barnyard. And I'm sure we'll speak again in the future and see how things are going.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our next guest here at the Barnyard is a butcher, and his name's Warren Pasquale, and he's going to be talking to us about some of the modern things to do with butchery. Morning, Warren.
Morning, how are you?
I'm pretty good, thanks.
Very good.
Now, firstly, I mean, you're down here at the Barnyard. How long have you been down here?
I set the business up March last year. So we're coming up to a year now. Been a great opening. Lovely people down here. We've done really got some great sales. Got a nice local trade.
Brilliant. Brilliant. I mean, do you think that? I mean, I know we have a couple of special butchers in. What we always refer to them as special butchers in Selsey. Local butchers seem to be coming to the fore once again. People are starting to use local butchers and possibly local bakers more than they have done for a good number of years. Well, some people even think that meat only comes in plastic packaging, but supermarkets for many years really held the key to the market, and they dictated an awful lot of things, not all necessarily good. And people just shopped at supermarkets for their meat, and local butchers really struggled.
Yeah.
And I saw the demise of a couple of local butchers when I lived in Windsor, and it's always sad to see that happen.
Yeah.
But I think nowadays there's been a resurgence from the local butcher. They seem to be doing better, shall we say?
Yeah,
would you agree with that?
Yeah, certainly. People are looking for a bit more of personal service now as well, but also it's quality of meat. The supermarkets are not providing that as much now, I don't think. We can do, as is your locally sourced meat with supermarkets mass produced. Hasn't really got a great name now, so people are looking for a better quality,
And of course, I mean, the thing always used to be the price, didn't it? Oh, well, it's all right going to your local butcher, but he's always more expensive. That doesn't necessarily seem to be the case nowadays, I don't think.
No, certainly. I find if I had a conversation with someone, they thought that butchers are a too expensive place to shop, but we're not. We're very good for price. We always keep an eye on what we're doing, and it's good value for money.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a competitive world, and if you don't compete, you don't play, do you? But
No.
If you can keep your prices down around the same sort of prices as supermarkets,
Yeah.
I'm sure people would love to go back to old style shops. You see it all the time now.
Yeah, certainly.
Because they do. They like the old style service. They like to be able to come into you and say, Warren, that piece of steak I had off you was bloody tough last week.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it gives you, and you can say, well, here's a
Yeah.
bit free of charge or whatever, and you can give that sort of service. Whereas if you take a piece of steak back to the supermarket, I mean, if you can find somebody to talk to, well, they probably won't know why it was tough.
No, that's right.
Did you overcook it, madam? I mean, how long did you cook it for?
Yeah.
Oh, I like mine well done. It was cooked right through.
Yeah.
Well,
We work on personal service. We get to know all of our customers. We treat everybody as friends, but we offer that little bit more. We offer cooking advice. We have to really be trained in that sort of stuff now. So to give people good advice to be able to cook the meat properly as well.
now, you said about local sourced meat, so people immediately think that it's you that's doing the butchering, but of course,
Yeah, no.
that hasn't really happened for many, many, many years, has it? Because usually an animal will go to the slaughterhouse,
Yeah.
and then the butchers will get it from there.
Yeah, sure.
And for, I mean, to keep half a cow or a whole cow hanging in the freezer until you sell it and butchering lumps off it,
Yeah.
probably not practical and not cost effective. So do you keep any of your own meats that you actually carve the joints from yourself?
Max Eads, he breeds his own pigs, so we actually use a couple of his pigs weekly if we can, which are absolutely beautiful. They're a rare breed pork. They're a mix between a Gloucester Old Spot and a saddleback pig, and they are really beautiful. The flavour is just so much better. With the other local meat that we buy from the Portsmouth Meat Centre, which is always, they buy from local farms. So, and what that means is the people that we use they are a quality approved stockist. So everything that's come through is all good quality meat, basically. So,
Yeah.
it's better.
And of course, if they're selling to various butchers locally, I mean, if the quality drops, so do their sales, because local butchers, like yourself, have got to live up to your reputation, and it's, your business is soon lost if you don't live up to your reputation. So if you buy something from them and it's not good, you go back and say, well, it's not good. You need to improve your.
Exactly.
So which is great, because it means everybody gets good quality.
Yeah, the wholesalers are really good because they don't drop. Their standards are always the same. We get the same meat all the way through the year. We might get something a little bit, but they'll always replace it if we don't like the look of it, basically. So we won't buy it.
Well, yeah, that's it, and you know what you're buying.
Exactly.
I mean, do you have to go and see what you're buying?
No, it's always sent in. We do go down. We go down a couple of months just to see what they've got, see what they're doing.
So you phone up and order half a cow or a couple of lambs or a couple of sheep or whatever.
Yeah, we sell in sort of starting on from March. We could do anything from about 10 to 20 lambs a week.
Really?
So, yeah, and we cut all those and pack them up for him. So and they're
really
really good buy. Yeah, you could save. A whole lamb is roughly about £99, what we sell them for. If you bought that through the shop or cut, that'd probably be about £200-250.
Really?
Yeah,
so
you
that
do
big
save
a
a lot of
difference.
money.
Yeah, that's an awful big difference. Well, if you'd like to contact Barnyard Butchers or speak to Warren or his partner in crime, Alan, you can do, and you can phone them on 01243 696 140 or on the mobile, which is 0784 197 9768. And you can have a look at Barnyard Butchers. You can go on their website, which is www.barnyardbutchers.co.uk. And they've also got a Facebook page, so they're about all over the place.
Yep.
And if you'd like to place an order and you want to spend more than £50, then they'll deliver it free of charge within a 10-mile radius.
Yep.
So
Certainly.
Service to the fore, most definitely. Well, thanks for coming in, Warren, and having a quick chat with us. I know you're busy out there, so thanks for sparing us your time, and look forward to seeing you again in the future.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
And now into the fray comes Lynn Claydon, and Lynn runs Birdcage Barn Emporium down here at the Barnyard. Morning, Lynn.
Good morning.
How are you today? Are you fit and well?
I'm fine, thank you.
I notice it's a bit chilly round here, isn't it?
It is a little bit chilly.
I believe. How long have you been here, Lynn? Because I believe you were in Chichester before.
We've been here since October at the Barnyard, and before that we were 2 years in Terminus Road, and we moved basically because it's a bigger place for us here.
Okay,
that means we can expand.
I've had a little wander around earlier on, and you seem to have all manner of stuff. I mean, all kinds of furniture. Brown furniture, of course, is not in vogue so much nowadays, so you seem to have a tendency to paint it, I notice.
Yes, we do. My daughter's a fantastic painter, and she upcycles the furniture, and people love it. And we have a lot of commission work. People come in and ask us to paint furniture they've got, or they'll buy a piece from us and we paint that up as well. So we do quite a bit of that.
Yes, I know. Actually, my old mate here, John, has got a piece of his own furniture sitting out there, with you waiting for the legs chopped off. But we won't go into that. But you do that sort of thing. I mean, somebody comes in and says, "Look, I like that, but I need the bottom cutting off it, or I need these alterations done." You actually do that as well.
Yeah, we can do anything. If people come in and just ask, we will find a way to do exactly what it is they want.
Well, that's great stuff, and great service, of course, which seems to be the key issue down here. Is everybody seems to want to give very, very good service. Now, I did hear a little whisper about a knit and natter club that goes on.
Yes, we do that on the last Monday of every month, and we've got a group of ladies that have followed us from Chichester, which is where it all started, and I actually do pick a few of those ladies up because they can't get on and off the buses easily, and we're hoping that group will grow because it is a community group. So if anyone who's listening would like to come along, they can always contact us and we'll sort out picking them up.
That's brilliant. I mean, that's community at its best, without a shadow of a doubt. And you also do craft classes, I believe.
We do. At the moment, in the other building we had a massive room which we taught in. Either we rented space for other people to teach crafts that they knew, but here we haven't got that facility, but it's actually been built for us, starting within the next week to 2 weeks. And we're hoping it'll complete by March, and then we can have our courses up and running again.
Brilliant stuff. Now, you run this with your daughter, I believe.
Yes, I do. Emma and I are partners in crime. We live not far from each other, so yeah, we're kind of nearly 24/7. So, but yeah, it's good fun.
That's a great. If anybody can hear a whimpering in the background, it's not John. It's the guard dog they've got here, and I'm going to take a picture of him. And I'm going to post it on the website. And if you then wonder why somebody didn't shout at him to shut up, you'll see why. Because this puppy could melt your heart with one glance, I promise you. He's adorable. And I'm not a dog lover, as is well documented. Anyway, have you any plans for further expansion of your business? I mean, I see you've pretty much taken over here already by the looks of it.
Well, we'd like to expand, but we're trying hard to kind of just grow bit by bit so that we continue with the business. Because I think if you try to grow too fast, I don't necessarily see that a good thing for business. I think we have to do stages at a time, and that's what Emma and I are trying to do.
And of course, if you expand too much, you can't help but lose some of that personal touch, and that's what people come to you for.
Yes, it is. I think that's the mainstay of your business. If you get treating your customers right and you do what you say, if you look around and say, well, that'd be with you in 2 days, it should be with you in 2 days. And we try really hard to do that. There are occasions where you'll get an odd moment where something will happen and you can't, and we always will apologise and do it as quickly as we can, but it's not often that's ever happened.
Well, I mean, you obviously doing your best, and as long as people are aware and believe that you're doing your best to supply what you said when you said, I'm sure people are always understanding that things do happen. Thanks for just filling us in briefly on what you're about here, and because you can only really judge what Lynn's business is about if you come down and have a look. They've got a sale on out the back with about 4 items of bric-a-brac for £1 or 3 items for £1. I'm not quite sure. I'm sure Lynn will put me right.
It's 3.
There's 3 items for £1. They've just gone up. But there's all manner of stuff. And if, like me, you like to have a trawl through boxes and see if you can find the bargain of the day, you'll be in your element. And the same applies for the furniture they've got here. And they will cut it and paint it and do whatever you like to it, change the handles, cut the legs off, and make it suit your surroundings. And it's brilliant. So do come down, have a look. And that's Birdcage Barn Emporium down at the Barnyard. Thanks very much, Lynn.
Thank you very much.
And, of course, you may well bump into Sydney the Super Dog. across to the kitchen now, and as I've got a awful cold this week, I think it's standing down the barnyard in the freezing cold, but as I've developed an awful cold, I think some chicken noodle soup might be the ideal thing. So the first recipe we've got this week is chicken noodle soup. Now this will serve 4 to 6, and this is what you need: 2 skinless chicken breasts, 2 litres of water, 1 onion with the skin left on and cut in half, 1 large garlic clove cut in half, 1 centimetre or half-inch piece of fresh root ginger peeled and sliced, 4 black peppercorns lightly crushed, 4 cloves, 2 star anise, salt and pepper, 1 carrot peeled, 1 celery stalk chopped, 100 grams or 3½ ounces of baby corn cut in half lengthways and chopped, 2 spring onions finely shredded, and 115 grams or 4 ounces of dried rice vermicelli noodles. And this is what we do. Put the chicken breasts and the water in a saucepan over a high heat and bring to the boil. Now, lower the heat to its lowest setting and simmer, skimming the surface until no more foam rises. Then add the onion, the garlic, the ginger, the peppercorns, the cloves, the star anise and a pinch of salt. Continue to simmer for 20 minutes or until the chicken is tender and cooked through. Meanwhile, grate the carrot along its length on the coarse side of a grater so you've got long thin strips. Now, strain the chicken. What are you going to sit? No. Strain the chicken, reserving about 1¼ litres or 40 fluid ounces of stock, but discarding any flavouring ingredients. At this point you can let the stock cool and refrigerate overnight so any fat solidifies and can be lifted off and discarded. Then return the stock to the rinsed out pan with the carrot, celery, baby corn and spring onions and bring to the boil. And boil until the baby corn are almost tender. Then add the noodles and continue boiling for 2 minutes. Meanwhile, chop the chicken, add it to the pan and continue cooking for about a minute until the chicken is reheated and noodles are soft. And then add the seasoning, and that's it. Simple, eh? Chicken noodle soup. I don't think it's quite what my mum used to give me when I had a cold, but it'll be a similar thing, and just as good for you. Now, some people accuse me of only doing bland recipes. Well, I promise you this next one's far from being bland. It's fiery chicken vindaloo. And this is what we need. And this will serve 4 people. 1 teaspoonful of ground cumin, 1 teaspoonful of ground cinnamon, 2 teaspoonsful of mustard powder, 1 teaspoonful of ground coriander, 1 teaspoonful of cayenne pepper, 5 tablespoons of red wine vinegar, 1 teaspoon of brown sugar, 150 ml or 5 fluid ounces of vegetable oil, 8 garlic cloves crushed, 3 red onions sliced, 4 skinless chicken breasts cut into bite-sized chunks, 2 small red chilies deseeded and chopped. And remember, when you're chopping chilies, don't, whatever you do, rub your eyes with your fingers afterwards until you've washed your hands properly. To carry on there, we need 450 grams or 1 pound of potatoes peeled and chopped, 800 grams of canned chopped tomatoes, 1 tablespoonful of tomato puree, a few drops of red food colouring, some salt and pepper, and freshly boiled rice to serve. And this is what we do. Put the cumin, cinnamon, mustard, coriander and cayenne pepper into a bowl, add the vinegar and the sugar and mix well. Heat the oil in a large pan, a large skillet, add the garlic and onions and cook, stirring over a medium heat for about 5 minutes. Add the chicken and cook for another 3 minutes, then add the chilies, potatoes, chopped tomatoes, tomato puree and a few drops of red food colouring. Stir in the spice mixture, season generously with salt and pepper and bring to the boil. Now lower the heat, cover the pan and simmer, stirring occasionally for an hour. Arrange the cooked rice on a large serving platter, remove the pan from the heat, spoon the chicken mixture over the rice and serve. And then phone the fire brigade to put your throat out, because this one's likely to be a little bit, as it says, fiery. So, but I hope you enjoy it as much as I do, because I do like a vindaloo. Right, with me now I've got Jill Osbourne from Odies Gardens, and I'm very pleased to say that Jill's going to be doing a regular spot for us. So you keen gardeners, you need to tune in and get Jill's information and tips on stuff that needs doing in the garden. I won't be interjecting too much because I know very little about gardening, except for that it usually involves some form of exercise. Good morning, Jill.
Good morning, Keith, and thank you very much for introducing me. People who read the local Life magazine will know me because I've been writing in there since it started, and before that the local Rag. So for about 12 years I've actually been giving my information over to you. Those who don't know me, I run a small gardening business based in West Wittering. I've been gardening for over 22 years, and I'm an RHS City and Guilds qualified gardener. Today's topic, as the weather isn't very good and we've had these terrible storms, I'm going to talk about indoor plants. The thing with indoor plants is a lot of people get a bit scared with them. They tend to throw them in the bin because they die, they overwater them. But we're going to talk first of all about the correct compost for the job. If you're repotting your orchids, you need to have orchid compost. Otherwise, you use John Innes No. 2 for plants that are in containers for a long time, i.e. large house plants, things like large rubber plants. If you have to use multi-purpose compost, add grit for the drainage. Cactus require either a special mix or John Innes washed horticultural grit together. If you're using clay pots, remember to put crocks in the bottom. That stops either the soil falling out, and it also helps the drainage. No need to use plastic pots if you don't want to, but if you do, you can put no crocks in the bottom for that. The secret of doing houseplants is to have everything ready. Don't think I'm going to repot my houseplants today and find that you have taken it out of the pot, you haven't got the compost, and the pot's the wrong size. So, when you start to do your pots, always check for pests and diseases. When you turn out the plant, look for vine weevil grubs. If you find any, remove all the compost, rinse off the roots and repot. Vine weevil grubs are cream with a brown head about 2 centimetres long. The signs that you might have them are the cut marks out of the leaves, and the plant starts to wilt although it hasn't had enough water. The roots have been eaten. Adult vine weevils are black beetles, and they lay their eggs in the compost for their young to eat. Without any problems, and you're repotting, if the plant is to go back in the same size pot, tease off some of the old compost from the sides and top, and repot with new compost around the edges. Now give the plant a good drink and let it drain before placing back in the position in the house. When choosing a pot, go for the next size up, not a huge step. Plants can often fail if planted in a too big pot too quickly. I also check for any leaf problems at this time. Scale insects are a problem in a dry atmosphere, and in winter, with the heating on, they often multiply. You may not notice anything until you see black mould growing on the leaves. That is from the sticky substance from the insects, and also from the aphids that like to milk them for honey-like substance they produce. How to get rid of them? Tricky. They can sometimes be rubbed off with the fingernail, time-consuming. Use some warm, weak, soapy water and wash off the leaves and the sooty mould and the scale insects together. You can also buy a proprietary spray, but check if that can be used on plants in question, as some, like fuchsias, do not like all chemicals. Also, if you have pets and fish, make sure they are either out of the room or covered, or if you can, remove the plant to outside and spray more safely. Another problem I frequently see is a plant wilting, although the compost is wet. That is often from overwatering and the roots are rotting. Again, tap out the plant and check. There will be mouldy smell as the roots look dead, and often with a white growth on them. Sometimes the plant can be saved by repotting and better drainage, but it may be that the compost cheap for that plant and a new one purchased. If you are prone to too much care, use small pebbles in a saucer or the pot that the plant stands in. That way the plant can drain and not sit in water and rot. Houseplants also need to be turned regularly, not like the mattress, but a quarter turn, so that the growth is even. They will always grow towards the light, i.e. the window. That way your plant will be balanced and looking its best. When purchasing a new plant, do look at the care label. If it does not give you much information, check before you buy. I use a reference book to select mine for the room conditions, i.e. sunny and warm or cool and north facing. There are also some plants to be aware of. Clivia, very attractive strappy leaves and orange and red flowers. They are poisonous to pets. Lilies, the pollen is deadly to cats. Many have died through licking the pollen off their fur. There are also plants that have sap that is an irritant, not one to have with small children around. The moral of the story, do some research and do not impulse buy. Also, if given something for a present, check it out. Happy gardening.
Well, thank you for that, Jill. I didn't know. I mean, I'm fully aware that pollen from lilies can be a nuisance because if it gets on your clothes, it stains them terribly.
Absolutely.
I didn't realise that it was poisonous to cats until I read an article recently, and I was quite surprised. And I said to my wife, "Did you know that lilies, pollen off of lilies, is poisonous to cats?" She said, "Oh yeah, of course I did." So that shows you the extent of my knowledge.
You can actually just, if you are growing them, if someone's given you the pot plant that's a lily, you can actually just take off the stamens with the pollen on. The lily itself is fine, it's just the pollen.
Okie dokie. Well, thank you very much for that, and I look forward to seeing you again next time.
Thank you.
And finally, we go across to Pastor Andy Stevens from the Windrush Church, which can be found at Bracklesham Barn on Sunday mornings.
Family. Last week I spoke about children. This week I have chosen to speak on family. It is said that we can choose our friends, but not our family. They are there whether we like it or not. Family is at the heart of God. He loves family, but he also knows that sons and daughters, etc., can choose to go their own way and not listen to dad or mum. He has many of his kids that have chosen to reject their Heavenly Father and are doing things on their own independence. We are designed for relationship and not for isolation. Families can cause us pain sometimes, and at other times great joy. Sometimes we see family every day, others only appear at weddings and funerals. Some demand our attention, others just stay in the background unless there is a need. Then they are there to help and then gone again. Family can be defined by husband, wife, children, in-law, grandchildren, aunties, uncles, cousins, nephews, nieces, etc., etc. Then you sometimes have a very close friend you accept as family. We have a choice. We can enjoy family or endure them. We can love or hate them. We are on this earth for a very short time, so why not choose to love and cherish our families? You may say, "You do not understand my family. They are not lovable." Well, what is love? Without going into that this week, let's suffice to say it is not a feeling, although it can generate feelings. Love is a choice. Yes, life is full of choices. We must choose love over hate, and that comes with another choice: forgiveness. Peter asked Jesus, "How many times should we forgive?" Jesus replied, 70 times 7. That is 490 times. In other words, always choose to forgive your family, as they are part of you, and you are a part of them. Forgiveness sets you free to love. Love is powerful, and an overflow of love will set others free. Enjoy your family, and let them enjoy you.
And we'll say thank you to Pastor Andy Stevens there. And that's it for this week. Just leaves me to say thank you to our contributors. That was Lucy Eade, Lynn Claydon, Warren Pasquale, and of course Jill Osbourne, and Father Andy Stevens himself. And to the production team of producer John Fletcher, sound John Mallet, and from me, Keith Barnes, saying thanks for joining us, and see you again next week. Bye for now.